those magnificent men in their flying machine. They go up to the up, up, they go down to the up, down.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're on the wings now. This is the bottom wings, which are considerably different from the top wing, believe me. So, anyway, I thought I'd just show you these pieces now. There's a few things I've got to point out from comments I've had, so I'll make as I go along. So you can see, as with the top wings, I've put all the little ring riblets in, right, as it is on the real plane. Okay, to imitate it, and I'll come to that because the other wing's done. So we'll see with this wing now, I've just got to put the supports under there, going to hold the strut up. Okay, obviously once I take it off the plane. And what I've done with these is that I've glued these in, white glued these in, and then a little trick is if I find a piece here, to get them all nice and straight, get rid of that. I use the back of the piece, it's going to be the aileron, you know, to get them all nice and straight as you go along, cut them one at a time, and then that's them in. Okay, so that's nice. Okay, so that's that. And the access pit you keep, it goes on here somehow. I'll work that out when I get to it. Jelly. So, and these pieces are in the back struts. And this is what I've been pointing out in my comments. The ones that are making the kit to true to the DB, there's a site called the DB site, which is fair, right? They have got a fair comment, and I must admit, that's a dedicated site for DB models. So I agree. I would agree. If you were building this as a kit, from the kit, exactly as the plans and the instructions, then they are correct in saying that you have a sheet that goes over. I did explain this in the last video, or one of the videos. There's a sheet, a long sheet like this, it actually caps over the whole lot like so. Okay? And that's obviously your strength from the wing. Okay, and it goes right from end to end. But then with that on there, you wouldn't, when you go to cover it, you won't see any of the detailing that's on the real plane. And there's a chap who's built one of these, and he's done just that. He's put the sheet over and then put little strips over the top of the sheet again to try and imitate the ribbon, the riblets, yeah. But I thought, well, I'll do it another way, and I'll come to it in a sec. So, this is my point. Now, on the plan, this piece here, it goes in there. On the plan, they only give you enough to put these in sporadically. Not every one, like on most planes I've ever built, like I've done, there's always one in each column between the ribs. Okay, but on this plan, it shows you that they only have it in certain areas. Okay, they only give you enough of that. So I look at it as, and plus, the argument they had was that I said that I put mine in with the grain going the other way, and their argument was, well, once you glue either end, top and bottom, well, this way the grain is, because I see it as the grain just snaps, like so, see, under stress. But they're saying that if you glue it, then you've got them all the grains glued, if you know what I mean, on top and bottom, longer runs. That's fair, but I've always done it the other way, lengthways, because I think it adds strength. That's my personal preference, but obviously people agree and disagree, it's up to them, but that's how I do it. And I've never had a wing snap yet, right, so we'll see. But anyway, and also I've put them in like standard in between every rib, so that in itself will add strength to the wing. And don't forget, you've also got your main bits that have got to go in between, like so, you know. So they're there obviously to add the strength. So I can't see that being a problem personally. But by all means, if you're dedicated to build it as it is in the plan, then that's it. You've got to put the sheet in over like I just explained. Okay? And also, you've got all this to worry about, but I've deferred from that because I'm going to use servos instead of the old-fashioned way, which is there with a link pull, because that's very difficult to do, in my opinion. So, once it's not as difficult, it's just probably the same difficulty as trying to put a plate in and all that. It's up to each individual who's building it. Now, I'll come to this. This piece here is obviously not the same as the other wing. This is because I looked at the picture of the plane, and on the real plane, this is where the pilot walks on to get into the cockpit. And on the real plane there's a black sort of pad thing there, you know, that's where he puts his feet. So I thought, well, I'll put a piece on here, so when it comes to like in there, the black pad, it's got something to adhere to. You know, I think it looks alright. When it's covered, nobody will see it. Okay, so obviously with this wing, we come to the bloody dreaded ailerons. Okay, and there's a bit here I'm going to look at here because it's a bit confusing at the moment. Because the wingtip, as I'll show you now, don't get seasick. Alright, I'll come to that. Right, so here we have the finished wing on the top. I'll try and stand back a bit because it's not really. That's where I've put the capping strips on. So you see the difference now, much better. In my opinion, that looks much better. Alright, they're basically just cut out strips, extra bolster, you know, like I said before, bought a bolster, and you just go with a long ruler. There's patience there really, and just cut them down as many strips as possible. And then nice thin ply bolster, right? And then you just put them on. Right, I've left this one here out because I've got to sort out the screw for the strut. So once I've got that in place, the screw's in solid, then I'll put that last piece of stripping on there, capping strip. Okay, and then eventually I will do the underneath, but I just thought I'd do this to show you now. And I think personally it looks a lot better looking wing, especially when the covering goes on. And then what I was talking about here is on the wing rib tip, you see how it bends to shape. So when the ailerons go on, I've got to work out how you get that, keep that shape. There, where my thumb's running, because it'll stop there. That's where the aileron runs up to there. It's quite a thick aileron, long aileron bit there, some tip to there. And that's what you keep the extra pieces for, to work it out. So, because when it comes to here, you've got these pieces sticking out. So that is that, ladies and gentlemen. So that's the next stage now. As you can see, there's just enough room for the servo. I'm in two minds here, because on my Camel, I discovered that you get them nice little flat servos, because the Camel wings are so narrow, the ribs are, from top to bottom. They fit in, and I might buy a couple of those, because they were absolutely lovely. And nice to install as well, because they're the other way around, which I think would make life a lot easier. But I'm not sure yet, because I've got hundreds of these and never get to use them. So, thanks to Martin Thompson, bless him. So, I might use these. I'll just decide that when it comes to it. So that is mainly it. You know, I'm quite pleased with it so far. Again, the middle section, this is where the top section is on the other plane, it's slightly different. So I've got to look at that. That'll be easy enough to build. The dihedral's in there, like I said, must your dihedral. See? Perfect. All along. Alright, so you've got your dihedral. And on both sides, so that's not a problem. But that, you know, mainly that's the main job of the wings done now. So it's just a case of building the centre section, capping, stripping it all, as I did, work out how to put this in, and then the dreaded bloody ailerons, which I'm going to have a go at. Okay, so that's basically that. Okay, there's not much more to say really, that's it. But I am pleased with the wing. You know, I've done both, the other wing's down there. So, yeah, I'm pleased with it. I'm dying to cover it now, I'm terrible for that. So yeah, so if you are building it like the plan, by all means, you know, that's the way to do it, okay? But if you're trying to get as much scale out the wings as possible, out of the plane, the real plane, the Shuttleworth one I'm copying, then you really, you know, you've really got to sort of like cut corners and add next to subtract really, you know. I mean, like these wing riblets, you know, you've got to have so much patience just to cut the extras out, which obviously I've got some here somewhere. There you go. See? So you obviously need those, and you know, it can be quite a laborious task, but at the end it's worth it, you know. It's really worth the patience to do it all, because once it's all finished it'll be looking lovely, hopefully. Jelly. And that's about that. And then the last thing I brought up, somebody asked about the cockpit. As you see now, here on the internet, I just googled the internet as dials, prints. All I put in was printed dials, cockpit dials, and I found this. So basically, these are actually, it says on here, these are quarter scale dials, right? So I thought, well, that's handy, you know, for quarter scale planes. But I looked at it and thought, well, you know, who's going to know, you know, what dials are what, unless you're going to, I mean, because it's just a 1/6 scale plane. So I'm going to just, when it comes to putting the dash together, I'll show you how to cut these out and make them look as authentic as possible with the pieces of plastic and stuff, you know. It works, it does work a treat. So that was basically, and that didn't cost me anything. I just printed them off, you know, and I think to get close, you see, you get all the little pictures. So it's quite a good move. See, so you've got minis to choose from. So that's that, if that helps. And I don't know, that's about it really. Yeah. And it also helps because people said, why didn't you finish one thing at a time like the fuse? Well, that ain't actually possible, you know. there's two reasons why I keep changing. One is like, if you keep on the same part all the time, the fuse, I find that you get too tied into it, if you know what I mean, and a change is as good as a holiday, as they say. So I actually go onto the wings, just give me a break from it. Plus, the other side, which is more important than ever, you cannot actually build the whole fuse without building the wings. You need the centre sections, to make sure it's true with the fuse and such and such, especially the top wing of this fuse, there, that bit. If you're building it as a DB kit, then yeah, fine, it'll just go A, B, C. But if you want to look like the real plane, then there is issues, you've got to get it right. So there's that. You know what I mean? So there is things like that. It's just the way I do it. I'm supposed people will come around and say, no, you're talking rubbish, but that's how I do it, Plus, it's quite laborious building wings. Once you get into it, you think, God, especially when you're putting all these in, all these, you need a change. That's all. Anyway, that's that. Yeah. And I've built all this with the Star Trek music going in the background. Jelly. Right. So the next stage will be getting the aileron sorted and then the dreaded servos. Okay? And we should be laughing. Alright then, that's that for now. Okay, take care everybody. Bye.
Those magnificent men, those magnificent men, those magnificent men.